Okay, let's do a reading real fast. I have a limited amount of time at the moment, but enough time to do a reading. It's just general collective. This is just a general collective, so please apply all aspects of it as necessary. This is the Five of Swords coming out in reverse, meaning you're not going to be like trying to sneak, be sly, fly under the radar. Um, this is just kind of like you're not even defending. You're just like whatever happens, happens. Yeah, and I feel like that's exactly what was supposed to happen here. There was something that like you're not going to defend yourself against unhappy people. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, look, this is what was supposed to happen here because in the case that this is in the upright, do you see that there's all these swords pointing at one person? And it's really coming from people that are kind of like, for lack of a better word, like empty brain. Like they don't have anything in there. This is an empty skull. You know, it's already been picked clean. These are people who were unhappy and most likely just are going to stay that way. All of these are cups. This is 11 cups right here. The other thing that is coming at me personally from this is that you could have had a cup full of something. It's like emotions for something before. Um, could have been something as simple as like eating too many sweets or binge watching really just low quality TV, right? It's almost like this that there's a habit that you're cutting, you're trimming out of your life. It's just not something that you're interested in pursuing. And it was something that could have appeared to be really great at first. This could have showed up, and that's what flipped this whole thing upside down, kind of, you know? It was something that was like, seemed too good to be true, and then it was. So you're just like, kind of expected that, but at the same time, it's still disappointing, but you didn't really take a loss from it, if that makes sense. You were given I feel like there's a scoop. You could have been given a hint, or this could have been like something that was cyclical that had happened up to 5 times with the five of swords coming out right here. Um, yeah, here's the Queen of Cups at the top of the reading. So this was something that like emotionally really didn't feel good to you when this was happening, or maybe what's happening right now. If you are a water sign, possibly, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, you could be realizing like there's something that you just really you don't enjoy this like whatever's happening here emotionally is not something that was pleasant for you. We'll just phrase it like that and leave it there. Let me see what comes out the bottom of the deck. Yeah, look, here's a 5 of Cups in the reverse. This is 5-5. There's 2 5s coming out in the reading. This Queen of Cups is in the upright, and she's the only one. She's the only one in the upright. There's everything else is in the reverse. Whatever opportunity you were seeing or that you were going to pursue, and this is like in one area of your life. I don't feel like this is generally sweeping. I feel like this is just one generalized area, one generalization, one part, one piece, one pocket of your life that you're like, I'm not interested in that. And it doesn't mean that, there has to be a lot of vitriol behind it. It just means like, no, I don't, no, thank you. Thanks, but no thanks. It's like someone offers you some food off their plate, and you're like, "Oh no, I'm good, thanks. Thanks, but no thanks." It could be as simple as that. That's kind of the sentiment that's coming through though. It's whatever you said no to, that's like your least favorite food, okay? Like, you really don't like that food. And you don't gotta say that, but you're just like, that is my least favorite food. If there's no imagination involved, it's just not your cup of tea, okay? Maybe it's not your favorite type of beverage on hand, something like that. It just wasn't up to your standard or up to it didn't fit your fancy, okay? Yeah, look, there's no shame to be like, shame on you. Like, I don't think that's emotionally how you feel. You don't feel ashamed of whatever happened, but it's like, you're not interested in it. Like, if you got to take it or leave it, you'll leave it. Sit down like a good dog, here's gifts. This is the 5 of Swords coming out with the gifts in the upright. That's what I mean by, like, I think you had an inside scoop, or at least you had like the presence of this energy kind of not really sitting well with you was already a possibility, okay? And I feel like whatever has taken place, it's already taken place. Like, this is not a shameful gift that you got, which is the premonition or the foresight to understand how these things can go south or left, right? That's your gift. Your gift is being able to tell where the victory is and where maybe things are just a little tepid, you know? That's hot versus like tepid or like, man, mediocre. What is this Ace of Cups in the reverse, please? Also, I feel, yeah, look, you're not in the mood to like do this alone. Whatever this was for the general public here, it was emotional. And somebody made you feel ashamed of having to do something alone or having to face something by yourself or having to handle a situation. Look, here's Death in the reverse with this 5 of Cups in the reverse, okay? It's almost like someone made you feel like, what do you think, my food's poisoned or something? No, I don't think your food's poisoned. I just think your food is a type of food that I'm not interested in consuming. Okay, like, if let's get a totally different perspective, and I love my aliens. So, let's just say we're in Roswell, right? And they're talking about, "Well, I don't really want any of your food, thanks." And you really don't understand why this is like your favorite dish. Everyone else likes it. But they're like not going to tell you that they just want to go drink nail polish remover. They have pica really bad, and they're not going to tell you about it. It's just the way it is. Like, nobody will ever know. I mean, their family might, but that's it. There's the merger. That's what I mean. It's like, what you know and what you don't know, some things are going to come together, some things aren't. In this specific case, whatever you were finding out or whatever you were going to disclose, it's kind of like you don't even really want to do it anymore. Kind of just lost interest. Like, me, never mind. You don't have to be that, like I was saying, you don't have to be rude or in people's face. Like, what the hell? I don't want this food and this is overcooked. Or you don't have to make other people wrong about it. You can just be like, yeah, no, I don't feel like explaining, and also I'm not eating that. To me, it is not edible. Okay? We don't consume things like that where I'm from. I'm sure that's what they would be saying if they were from Roswell, right? Yeah, look. The 10, it's passion. It's look. Just go put on your little aluminum tinfoil hat and don't worry about what I'm having for lunch, okay? Don't worry about what I'm having to eat. My appetizers and your appetizers may look significantly different, and that's okay. Right? Here's willingness coming out in the upright, and that's coming out on top of victory. This 9 of Cups in the reverse, victorious willingness. It's like unhappiness is something that you're not willing to do. If willingness was in line with this happiness, In the upright would be like, yeah, okay, happiness, we're victoriously willing to do that. In this case, you're more than willing to let go of things that don't make you happy. You want to bring unhappiness to someone's doorstep, but you're at the wrong front door. You can't come on my front porch, okay? That's just the way it is. That's the power that you hold. You're going to be able to discern a lot easier from here on out. It's going to be, yeah, there's power again. The rest of the cards went flying under the table. It was acknowledgement was under the table. But power came out again. And that power is coming out with the Ace of Cups in the reverse, as well as the Solitude in the reverse. So you not being alone and not wanting to go with something, you're not just going to go along with things like just, I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to vocalize. This is an acknowledgement that you're not going to die on that hilltop, okay? It's like the top of the mountain peak hill. You're just not really willing to like hike up there in the first place, and then once you get there, like, yeah, I'm sure it's really fulfilling to go to Everest, right? But I'm good with Mount Kilimanjaro. I'm good. Like, Everest is fine, but there's also a significant difference in geographical location, right? And if you have like options between mountains, then you may choose to move different mountains for different people. It's just another example. That's the change that needs to take place in order for this power to be fully acknowledged, which is, it already kind of is in that you're not letting it die, but I also feel like I said, you're just not going to acknowledge certain things that have caused you contention. This is the, the 10 of the passionate 10 is right here. This is the power. So there's a 7-point shift between the two, and that's the change. It's a change agent. Okay. And doesn't, I'm not saying whether or not it's fair or whether it's even or equal. I'm just telling you the energies that I'm picking up. So this change is something that is going to be coming or already just happened. And I think it's significant for one reason or another. I'm going to use a map shifters deck to see what. Yeah, here's number 42 coming out in the reverse with the merger in the reverse. Yeah, it's like there's no shame in wanting to be open or free, right? But when you're agreeing to something, you're saying, yes, we're going to have a merger in this way, shape, or form. The Queen of Cups is the emotion that goes behind it. So if there's really no emotional investment, there really will be no physical manifestation that is ever going to be acknowledged on a spiritual level. And that's limiting to some people, not so much to others. And I'm not judging. I'm just making the observation. Here's Peaks of Joy. Yeah, I was feeling that peak, the mountaintop. It's like you need to either stay on that mountain and die there or jump, take the leap. That's the passion. That's the decision. That's at hand is are you coming or are you going? Are you gonna you're gonna move or are you gonna remain stagnant? Are you going to, and sometimes stagnancy is the right move, by the way. So don't get me wrong when I'm saying this. I'm saying whatever you were doing that was making you unhappy, which could be doing too much. Do the opposite of that for a little while and see how it feels. Yeah, here's number 11. Now we've got 1111 coming out. This is the balancing act. Being willing to balance things out so that a victory can happen instead of unhappiness. There's a first step, or this is like keeping your promises that you've made to people, time, energy, effort that you want to invest in people, actually carving that time energy and effort out of your time, your energy, and your effort. There's a action. Oh, okay, this is interesting. I'm seeing the lights, like the spotlight right here. There's something about needing to like go backwards and see where things are at. Like maybe retrace your steps and say, this is what made me really unhappy, and this is where I can reclaim some of my power, right? So saying, I'm just hearing lights, camera, action, but in that order, lights, camera, action. This is the action, this is the camera, and this is the lights. So you're going toward the light, not in a bad way. This is death in the reverse, being acknowledged. We're not going towards the light at the end of the tunnel, okay? That's not what kind of death is being acknowledged right here. What is being acknowledged, however, is this commitment to stardom. That's what this camera right here is moving towards in terms of lights. These are the lights. It's the flashing lights. I mean, Kanye and The Weeknd both have songs associated with that, but I won't go into it. This has much more to do with like finding out the inverse of your universe so that when they come together, the result is this massive new idea that encompasses every part of where you've been, but only in a way that is conducive. So you've got energetic inputs that deal with feelings of strong feelings and weak feelings, just like the weak and the force feeling, or the forces in the universe, right? That are electromagnetic feelings, feelings of attraction versus feelings of repulsion, feelings of, exhilaration versus anxiety. There's different ways to reframe the same butterflies in your stomach. So that's kind of what this is. It's the stage fright that you get beforehand. There's room for that, right? Because you're like, oh my God, look at all these people in the audience. I'm up here by myself. But then there's also these two hands from the sky kind of reaching down, giving you a hug or some support, some encouragement that even though you're all the way up there on the stage doing your thing, even if you're kind of blue about it, you don't need to be as it doesn't need to be as traumatic or dismal as maybe if you were doing like the soloist piece in an aria that you just did not love singing. At least you're loving singing what you're singing. If you're gonna have to perform in a space that makes you feel wildly uncomfortable or like you've stepped outside your comfort zone, then at least you've got this. Yeah, people are really rapt. They're listening. That's what I mean by you love what you do. You've got passion. And passion can actually overcome a lot of the hard work that we've not put in, or a lot of the fear factor that tends to seep into the edges. This is listening and acknowledging the fact that this is happening. This is acknowledging that people are listening to you sing. This is letting the butterflies fly away so that finally you can have that moment where you're like, welcome to the USA. Okay? Collective, it's been my pleasure. I know it says Forever Fun, but I'm hearing that song Forever Young. Young, rich, and handsome is coming to mind. Handsome and wealthy. It's just something about the scent. It's like a godsend. Okay, but I don't know which God you pray to, and it doesn't matter. It's about learning what matters, what's black matter, what's gray matter, what's dark light matter, what's light dark matter, how are the lights turned on, how are they turned off. It's learning your function. So blood, sweat, and tears goes into a lot of things, but so does, being beautiful is not comfortable. necessarily. And if you don't believe me, go ask a heal maker. Yeah, that was a little joke for all my healers. But anyway, I really gotta go because now I have blue healers running all over my brain barking.